Hello, welcome back to RetroBreak, and welcome to my Memories episode for the Nintendo Gamecube. The Gamecube was the first system that I ever got on launch day, way back in 2002, I think it came out here in the UK. But before the Gamecube came out, I was super excited about it. I'd been watching loads of videos on our dial-up internet at the time, which took forever to download. I remember being really excited for Star Fox Adventures, which I'd been reading about in the Nintendo magazines back when it was called Dinosaur Planet. I actually had this QuickTime Windows 98 CD, which had loads of information on the Gamecube. I remember going through all of the screenshots, all of the videos on this, and being super excited. And when the time came to get the Gamecube, I did something kind of stupid, which I really regretted later on in life. I sold my N64 and a load of boxed games for it, which is now worth way more than the Gamecube was at launch. I had games like Banjo-Tooie, Jet Force Gemini, loads and loads of really high value games for the system at the time, Smash Bros for example. Sold all of it on a boot sale to save up enough money to buy the Gamecube. Of course at the time I was very excited, and the first two games that I got with the system are Sonic Adventure 2 and Super Monkey Ball. No, I didn't get Luigi's Mansion at launch. The game I was most excited about was Sonic Adventure 2, and I played it to death when it came out. Absolutely love this game. Still to this day, it's my favourite game in the entire Sonic franchise. I think because I was the perfect age for it. I think at the time I was 10 years old maybe, which is just the perfect age to get into anything, I think, and I absolutely adored Sonic Adventure 2 so much. I just loved the Chow Garden, I loved the music, I loved the atmosphere, everything about this game. And I hadn't got a Dreamcast up to that point, so this was the first time ever playing a Sonic Adventure game as well. And the other game I got at launch was Super Monkey Ball, and just like Sonic, I absolutely loved the game, and I think I was turning into a bit of a Sega fanboy at the time as well, because I got these two games, and the year after I got myself a Dreamcast. And I did actually do a Dreamcast Memories episode last Christmas, I think, so I'll put a link in the description so you can go and watch that episode. But yeah, fantastic launch for the system with two amazing games with brilliant replay value as well. And still to this day, these are two games that I go back to and play again and again. And of course, soon after launch, I did pick up Luigi's Mansion and I loved it. It wasn't exactly what I was hoping for from a new Mario game. That wouldn't come until a few years later when we got Super Mario Sunshine. But I did like Luigi's Mansion for what it did at the time, and I'm really happy that Nintendo's kept the franchise going, and Luigi's Mansion 3 is coming out later this year on the Switch, so I can't wait for that. Now I've got a load of games here, as you can see. I'm not going to go into all of them, so I've picked out a few here that I want to talk about, and basically every single game I've got here means something to me, so I'm just going to pick them at random and tell you what they mean to me personally. So this one here, F-Zero GX, I remember reading about this one in the magazines before it came out. Really hyped up for this game. Fantastic collaboration between Nintendo, Namco and Sega, and I think this is the best game in the series in my opinion. And I was very excited one day because I actually found the arcade machine version of this when I was on holiday once, and you can actually take your memory card and put it into the arcade machine and get some extra courses and levels to take back with you on the Gamecube one as far as I remember. So really happy about F-Zero GX, one of my favourite games on the system and one of my favourite games of all time. Pikmin, this was another game that I got at launch when it came out. It was soon after the launch of the Gamecube, I think. I remember I was still in primary school at the time, so it must have been very early 2002, I think. And I remember being really obsessed with this game, and I remember not being able to finish it. I remember I kept getting up to the last area in the game, and I just couldn't do it no matter what I tried. Of course, since then I've been back and finished the game many times, and I've been on to play the rest of the games in the Pikmin series, but the first game definitely holds a special place in my heart. I really love the original Pikmin. Although these days I would say if you want to get into Pikmin, try playing the Wii version instead, because it does have much improved controls due to the fact that you can use the Wii remote to move the Pikmin around on the screen and throw them and stuff. So I would recommend the Wii version over the Gamecube one, but fantastic game nonetheless. And I really hope Nintendo releases Pikmin 4 for the Switch. Fingers crossed, one day. Now here's the real Mario game that we got for the Gamecube. I know this one's kind of controversial, not everyone's favourite game, but I absolutely loved it. I remember a really a really nice memory I have of this game is usually when I got a new game for the GameCube around this time, I'd always pick up the strategy guide to go along with it. And I remember when I was playing Mario Sunshine, my mum would come and sit next to me and have a look through the guidebook and help me try and find all of the blue coins. And I did actually 100% complete the game. I absolutely loved it at the time. And it's just a really nice memory of me and my mum sitting there, and she was showing an interest in my interests, which is always really nice. So really loved playing through Mario Sunshine. And I really hope they'll do a HD version of it at some point in the future. Now, Donkey Konga. This is a really interesting one. This was probably the first ever music rhythm game that I really got into, like big time. I think I got the game for Christmas at the same time as I got a brand new widescreen TV, so I was very excited to play this, and I remember I just played it non-stop every single day. And I have actually 100% completed this game, all the levels on expert mode. I remember when I first started YouTube about 12 years ago now, I did a video about Donkey Konga. I bet it's really hard to watch now, but I'm going to go back and find it on my channel, and I'll put a link in the description so you can go and laugh at how bad it was. And I remember I also did a video of me completing the Smash Bros theme tune on expert mode on this as well, so really good memories of Donkey Konga. And the first time I ever played Donkey Konga was at an event in 2003, I think, called Game Stars Live, and that's also the first time that I played Animal Crossing, which is right here. That event was really cool. They were showing off loads of new GameCube and Game Boy Advance games at the time. I think it was just before the DS had come out, and I remember the booth they had for the Animal Crossing game and the Donkey Konga game was just really cool. It was set out like a tropical beach, and the Animal Crossing game was around like a fishing station. It was like something on a beach where you'd have a big palm tree over the top and they'd be serving you drinks and things, and the controllers, from what I remember, were actually hooked up to fishing rods, which was really interesting. So that's enough about Donkey Konga. Animal Crossing, this is my most played version of Animal Crossing by far. I absolutely love the GameCube version of Animal Crossing. It just has a really nice atmosphere to it, and for the time it was a game that was so different to anything else that was out there. I really loved it, and I really have good memories of it. I went back to play it to capture some footage for this video. Unfortunately, I don't have my original town, but I do have one, and apparently I haven't been back to it in 96 months. So I think that's something like 9 or 10 years ago, so my animals aren't too pleased with me, but I absolutely love this game, and I can't wait for the new one that's coming out on the Switch early next year. Now, these two games here, the two Star Fox games, before the GameCube came out, of course, I was a huge Star Fox fan already. I'd completed the SNES one, I'd completed Lilac Wars on the N64, and I was very much looking forward to Star Fox Adventures. As I said at the beginning of the video, I'd been keeping up with the development of it back when it was Dinosaur Planet on the N64, and where's that demo disc thing gone? There it is. And I'd been looking at the screenshots and the videos of it on this demo disc here, and on a video that I got in the post, and I was obsessed with this game before it came out. I think I got it for Christmas that year, 2002, I believe, and I also got with it, at the same time, the Wavebird controller, which was a huge step up from having it wired. At the time I had a bunk bed with like a sofa on the bottom and a bed on the top, and I remember when I went to bed at night I would turn the TV off but keep the GameCube on and take the remote up to the bed with me and take the Wavebird up with me as well, and then when my parents thought I was asleep I'd turn the TV on and turn the volume right down and play Star Fox Adventures in bed using the Wavebird. That's just an amazing memory for me, and I'm sure I was very tired at school the next day, but I really couldn't stop playing it. Fantastic game, and I'm sure a lot of other people did that as well. Another really funny thing about leaving the GameCube on when I wasn't supposed to, you know how when you turn it on it has a light at the top? I'd usually put an extra memory card over that light so I could leave the GameCube on and play it after my parents had gone to bed. And sometimes, with games like Metroid Prime, if I hadn't got to a save point and it was time to go to bed, I would just turn the screen off and just put the memory card over the lid. And no one knew, I don't think anyway. They probably did, but they didn't stop me, so what are you going to do? And then a few years later, Star Fox Assault came out. I hear there's kind of mixed opinions about this game, but I really love it. I think Star Fox Assault is the perfect evolution of that sort of arcade-style Star Fox game. It kind of makes me wish they actually made a real arcade system of Star Fox Assault, because it was made by Namco, and of course they had a lot of arcade machines at the time, so that would have been really cool to see. But I absolutely love both the Star Fox games. I know they're seen as two of the weaker games in the series by a lot of people, but I hold them in really high regard, I really do. Really enjoy both of them. Now, Zelda the Wind Waker. Of course, at the time, before this game came out, I'd already seen the Space World 2000 demo that showed off the really realistic Zelda game that everyone was super excited about. But unlike a lot of people, I wasn't disappointed when I first saw Wind Waker. I thought it looked really, really good. I really loved the cartoon style. I guess I was at the age where having the super realistic graphics didn't really matter that much to me. So I was really happy when Wind Waker came out, and I remember once again I just played it non-stop. Although I have to admit I didn't actually manage to complete it until many years later, because like a lot of people I got up to that bit where you're on the boat and you have to find all the missing Triforce pieces, and I just got really bored of it. So I'm really sorry to all you hardcore Zelda fans out there, I didn't actually finish it when it came out. But I did go back and finish it many years later, and I do also love the HD version that they brought out on the Wii U as well. Really great Zelda game. And of course, I also have Twilight Princess. I didn't actually get this one during the lifespan of the Gamecube. I went back and picked this one up after. This I will save for my Wii Memories episode, which of course will be coming at some point in the future. So subscribe for that one. And somewhere as well, I can't find it, but I did also get the Zelda Collector's Edition from Club Nintendo, which was, believe it or not, the first time that I actually finished Ocarina of Time. So I have the GameCube to thank for my love of Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask as well, so the GameCube really was the best Zelda machine there was at the time. Metroid Prime. And this is the player's choice version, because no, I didn't get the game at launch. I did something really, really stupid instead. I used to go to Blockbuster quite a lot around this time and rent different games out that I was excited about before they came out. And Metroid Prime was one of them games, and I rented it and I loved it, and I took it back a week later and I thought, no, I need to keep playing this. So I rented it again for another week, and then I rented it again for another week, and then another week and another week, and in the end I think I actually spent more money renting the game than I would have just buying it anyway. And I did actually complete the game during those rental periods, so that's why I have the player's choice version here, because I picked it up when it went down in price a bit. One of my favourite games of all time, and I am kind of disappointed that Metroid Prime 4 got delayed, but I can't wait for it to come out. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what they do with the series. It's been a long time since the last one. No, Federation Force doesn't count. So, I'm not going to go through all of these games because there's way too many to go through, and this video will end up being about an hour long, and I don't think you guys would want to listen to me talking about GameCube games for a whole hour. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I will do an hour-long episode next time, that's a promise. But for now, I'm going to cover maybe 4 more games, maybe get this video up to 20 minutes and then call it a day. So this one here, Mario Kart Double Dash, this was the go-to multiplayer game at the time. I always had friends coming over after school to play it, but one memory that stands in my mind was back in 2004 or 3, whenever this came out, 2003? Yeah, back in 2003, I would always be on different gaming forums and stuff, and one of them was spreading a rumour that you could unlock all the N64 levels in Mario Kart Double Dash, and all you had to do was complete the 32-course Grand Prix mode with every single combination of characters, and of course, I believed it. So I spent way too many hours playing Mario Kart Double Dash because I thought eventually I would unlock all the N64 courses, and I kept seeing fake screenshots of things like the N64 courses in this game, and I really fell for it hard. So that's a memory that I will always have of Mario Kart Double Dash, and that is actually probably why this game remains my favourite game in the Mario Kart series, just because I put way too many hours into it and I absolutely loved it at the time. I know it's another controversial game that some people don't like, the kind of differences they made in the gameplay, but for me, it's my favourite Mario Kart game, and you really can't go wrong with Double Dash. Also, snaking. Now here's another game that I was obsessed with when it came out. This is SSX Tricky. Not the kind of game that I would usually go for, but one of my friends used to love the SSX games, and I would always play it every time I went around to his house. So of course I ended up picking it up for myself, and I fell in love with it, especially Tricky. The later games in the series kind of went more realistic and not as fun or cartoony as this one, so that's why Tricky is my favourite in the series. I just loved the crazy characters, I loved all the crazy courses and all the different shortcuts and things, and building up all the stats. It really was at the time the perfect extreme sports games for me, and I did actually become a big fan of extreme sports, partially thanks to this game, and partially thanks to the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series, of which there are many. So as I was saying, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is another one of the reasons why I got into extreme sports so much around the time. I used to watch a lot of X Games and things, and it was all thanks to Tony Hawk's and SSX. And I'm really sad that the two series have gotten worse over the years. So really the best games in the series were in the PS2 Gamecube era. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 in particular, absolutely loved these games. And a big reason why I love these games as well, and a big reason why I love making games, is thanks to the level editors in games like Tony Hawk's and Time Splitters 2 and things like that, where you could really be creative and make really amazing levels and share them with your friends and stuff. So absolutely loved the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series at the time, and it was also my introduction into the world of rock and punk rock and stuff like that as well. So really have a lot of things to thank the Tony Hawk's games for growing up in the early 2000s. Now this one isn't a game as such, this is the Gameboy Player. I think I got it for Christmas maybe the year after I got the Game Boy Player for Christmas that year when it came out, 2003, I think, 2003 or 4, and I just always loved playing the Game Boy games on the TV when I had the chance. I had the Super Game Boy for the SNES, and that was my preferred way of playing Game Boy games when I was at home, and when this came out, this was my preferred way of playing Game Boy Advance games. I have so many great memories of playing games like Golden Sun, like Breath of Fire, the sort of longer games that you'd really like to sit down and play. Golden Sun in particular, and Advance Wars as well. That was another game that I loved playing on the GameCube, and of course the Pokemon games. So I would definitely recommend getting a Game Boy Player if you have a GameCube. They've gone kind of up in price recently because you do actually need this disc to be able to play the games in the GameCube, which is kind of unfortunate because the actual Game Boy Player accessory itself is kind of easy to find, but the disc is getting quite difficult to find. So if you do manage to find one, they're really good accessory for the system. And the final game here, I'm going to wrap this video up now. Like I said, I could go on forever about the GameCube. It really is one of my favourite systems of all time. The last game that I'm really excited to show off here is Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. If you don't know, this game now is going for about 70 plus quid. But Blockbuster made a mistake and they sold this to me. It was actually priced up at 50p, and I actually managed to buy it for 50p because they said that's what it scanned in at, and apparently they didn't know that it was worth more than that. So yep, I got Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness for 50p, and it still blows my mind to this day. It's probably the best deal that I've ever got. I did enjoy the game, but I didn't like it quite as much as Pokemon Colosseum at the time. It was kind of more gritty, and I didn't really like that because I like my games to be all bright and colourful, as you know, but it is a really good game, and to get it for that price was just insane. And there are a lot more rare and expensive GameCube games that I'll probably save now for another episode. So it's been just over 20 minutes. I hope you stuck around till the end. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment down below some of your favourite memories of the GameCube, and I'll see you next week for another episode. Goodbye.